Today we're going to be talking about living your dream, your purpose, your dream, the dream that's on your heart for yourself, your family, or your larger than that, your professional life, so your community, how you're going to serve, and what to do about when overwhelm gets in the way of that. And I see it all the time, and I have experienced it from time to time. And certainly when I was building my own private practice before I shifted into working with moms everywhere like I do now, I experienced a lot of these obstacles myself, and when my kids were a lot younger as well. So I want to shine a light on it so that we can bring it to consciousness, as always, so we can have some choice, make a choice about it, make a better choice, aligned with what we want. And this is what I find. So I'm going to talk about two modes. One, survival mode. So surviving in motherhood, surviving, scraping by, spinning multiple plates, keeping everyone fed, alive, and then kind of that's it, right? Like you're just doing the minimum of the things that kind of are on your have-to list, and you're never getting to the want-to list. And you usually put like self-care on the wish list, and you put so you put yourself on the wish list, your health on the wish list. You put your kind of ways that you want to invest in you, your future, expand into your gifts. So maybe if you're at home, you want to work again, or you want to launch your own business, or you want to go get some level of expertise you don't have, right? So in all these ways, we put our dreams on the back burner when we're in survival mode, okay? And then there's thriving. And thriving is living your dreams. That's it. It's really simple. Thriving is the have-tos are done in a really, in my world and how I teach my clients to do it, the have-tos are done with a lot of ease. The have-tos are done with a lot of fun. The have-tos are done with a lot of time to spare, efficiency, productivity, and I'll say a bit about kind of why that is, how we do that. But what's the difference between surviving and thriving in motherhood? So that's a little picture of both of those. And then what kind of determines which pot we're in, which pot we're simmering in? What do you guys think? What sets us up for either surviving or thriving, or what makes the difference between those two? I'd love to hear from you. Drop a guess in the comments below. And I'm going to share while you do that a little bit about my experience working with so many moms over the years who are big feelers, who are sensitive, and that word gets a bad rap. Hopefully you know what I mean when I say sensitive. I'm talking about we feel things. We feel what our kids are feeling. We feel the mood of the continent we're on. We feel tapped into the energy around us. We can walk into a room and pick up the mood of the room like that. Sensitive meaning we can predict a lot of things happening, or we worry about them happening. Not sensitive like I'm crying all the time. I may be highly sensitive and less connected to my emotions. In fact, that's more common, because when you are picking up a lot like a sponge, it is totally overwhelming, okay? So if you're a mom with a dream on your heart, or a woman who had a dream on her heart, and maybe you were living that dream or in one iteration and then you became a mom, and since having kids have realized that you overwhelm easily, meaning you didn't know you were sensitive before. You didn't realize that you got overwhelmed easily before, like noise bothers you, like disorder in your environment drives you nuts, like you feel things a lot. So it's almost like intolerable for your kids to be upset or out of control, that you quickly get out of control too, that you pick up on a lot. So if that's who you are, then motherhood is really like a wrecking ball to sensitives. Motherhood, and I experienced this as well, motherhood is just it's just like a wrecking ball to your nervous system, when you are someone who, also for introverts, we can be sensitive and introverted, and it's just such a tough combination for having young kids and multiple young kids. And so if you are highly sensitive and or you're a big feeler and you easily overwhelm, then here's what we see. Often in that place, you have a dream and you know it, and you're mad that you're not living it, and you're angry that you're steeped in all the kind of minutia of the day to day and not able to notice how you feel, what you want, or you've kind of put those things on the back burner for a little bit. And all that's fine if you're doing it consciously and you don't have any frustration about it. But a lot of the moms who I know who feel frustrated about this are not okay with it. They are knowing that there's more for them, that there can be a sense like I feel like a shell. I feel like I'm just giving everything away, and there's nothing for me, right? So what's the result of that? Of being in survival mode, kind of letting overwhelm kill your dream. The result of that is that there's it's really hard to focus. So this is kind of how overwhelm looks, and what keeps us from achieving the dream or taking steps toward it, or following that guidance that we feel, that nudge, that niggle that we feel inside. It's hard to focus. I see women getting overwhelmed with like stimuli, too much, too hard to focus, also really hard to follow through. And if you're spinning in overwhelm and you're having a hard time focusing, being efficient, and following through to complete things, then you're definitely going to feel a lot of your energy draining out. And this is energy, you guys, that is what you need in order to accomplish your dream, in order to have the most magnificent, fantastic, successful year of your life, living in alignment with your heart's desires. Overwhelm, lack of focus, feeling confused, feeling like it's hard making decisions and you don't really trust yourself to do that. You're in doubt a lot, or in future worry about what if I go the wrong way, right? So when you're doing that dance and spinning, then you will be much slower in your progress. So you might get there, it's going to take a long time, and it's going to use up a lot more of your energy because you're low anyway. Have you guys heard me use the analogy of the leaky bucket? You've got all these holes in your bucket, leaking energy, life force energy out. And when you plug those holes, we're talking about now kind of working our way toward being able to thrive. When we plug those holes, those of us who are big feelers, highly sensitive, really intuitive, but we're numbed out because it's all too much, and I haven't learned how to utilize those skills and gifts yet, then from that realm, we slide into surviving. When we start healing from that, learning how to hold structure for ourselves, focus, release the negative, feel what's the difference between me and them, right? I don't want to be filled up feeling my kids all the time. I want to enjoy them. I don't want to feel what they're feeling. That will get in the way of me enjoying my life. I want to be able to support them and hold space for them when they're upset without feeling inundated by their torment, right? Give a shout if you know what I'm talking about, if you feel that. So being separated, plugging those holes in my leaky bucket, takes me out of overwhelm, okay? Puts me into my feet being firmly planted on the ground, takes me into me holding clarity in my vision, and it takes me into trusting myself so deeply that I know what next actions need to be taken, that I can live as a match for the level of fulfillment that I am craving. Okay, and this is usually at the point where women come in to work with me. There's an awareness that there's something I don't have that I want, and I know it comes from inside of me, but I need to learn how. I need that peace, right? So living your dream is not about pushing harder. It's not about being more disciplined. It's not about beating yourself up. These are the paths that we're going on now that are really taking us down in a spiral. And as women, this is the time for us to lift each other up, for us to learn from each other, for us to rise as a collective and really support each other in living our gifts, in living our best life. And what that means in my world is we're learning from each other. We are learning from our best models. How did they do it? How is she living her dream? How is this friend of mine just glowing in these beautiful boundaries that she's created for herself? I know that was one of my first examples of a friend thriving professionally. Like, oh, her boundaries are so solid. It almost scared me because I didn't grow up with that at all. I had to learn that. It was frightening when I heard her set a boundary, and I thought, part of me was like, ooh, I want that. I don't know how to have that. So I had to go study. I had to hire teachers and coaches and therapists to help me integrate that part of into my identity. And so creating healthy boundaries for me enabled me to become a match for the dream I wanted to create. And this is how creation, co-creation, divine co-creation works. We have to become a match to what it is we want to have and be and do. Meaning, if you want a healthy marriage, but you're holding resentment for your partner, you cannot get there from there. If what you want is a dream career with a steady income that you can rely on that brings you joy, that feels in alignment for you and your gifts, then you're worrying about it a lot and looking at all the ways that it wouldn't make good sense, or it wouldn't be a safe choice, or that you, all the ways that you might not be worthy yet or ready yet, or it's too soon, or it's wishful thinking, or other people would think you're crazy. You know, you're pooping on your own dream in that scenario. So you aren't a match for the level of fulfillment and success that you want. If you're a mom who feels really beat down by the minutia of the day, really overwhelmed by the kids' noise, by their needs, so much so that like you have trouble even like making a meal for yourself and feeding yourself every day, several times a day, or sitting down and just letting that be a sacred experience and blessing the food and blessing your body and giving thanks and gratitude for it if you're kind of scraping scraps from your kids' plates. I used to do that back in my days of overwhelm. You know, when you're living there in that place, you're tolerating overwhelm, right? You're saying, what I want doesn't matter enough to me to learn how to have it. And the reality is, what I want to share with you is we all get to choose, and we choose when we're ready. And that inner compass is usually what lets us know when we're ready. The inner compass that goes like, I can't do it anymore. I just cannot sacrifice myself and my dreams anymore. I'm so angry about it. That's one way it sounds. Another way is your body manifesting a health crisis. Sounds like that, to give up your dreams. Your body will be so against that it'll start to create pain for you, make a lot of noise, and be really hard to live with. That's another way. Another way is a relationship falling apart or falling away, that it just can't fit anymore because you need to expand. You need to expand. You need to grow. You need to come into ownership of how you really feel and what you really are becoming. But we're scared. We're scared. And one of the biggest things that I see holds us all back, holds my clients back, used to hold me back, sometimes it still comes up, is this fear that I'm going to lose something if I actually do achieve my dreams. That I could go for them a little and sort of test the waters to make sure that nothing's going to fall apart, like as if there's one bucket. If I take some from it, then the other bucket is empty. And then that kid's bucket will be my kids will feel unloved and lonely if I'm living my best life. Raise your hand if you have felt that way. There's this fear that if I invest in me, that it's going to deprive someone else of some kind of joy or happiness. And I just really want to bump this right up to consciousness right now for you. In what area what does the fear say? In what area do you worry you will lose? What area will suffer? What will kids have to go without? Oh, maybe this is a big one. Maybe I'm just hearing, you're afraid you'll outgrow your marriage. I hear it all the time. My deepest, darkest fear is, I'm afraid if I come to work with you, Honor, that I'm going to outgrow my marriage. I'm going to get happy and healthy, and then my codependent relationship is just going to combust. And then we're going to have to split up the family. These are BS, fear-based beliefs that are keeping you from investing in you, prioritizing you, and stepping forward toward the dream, into the dream, claiming it at a higher level. And the reality is, we can only get so far alone. Like, I just have to be so direct about that. We can only get so far alone. Alone, we spin in our own vortex of what we think and believe, and we bump up against our own glass ceiling all day long, every day. That's it. So whatever dreams are within our reach, we believe, whatever's in our little vortex that we see ourselves as having, as we believe we can honestly, easily achieve, those we can have. Anything that feels like, oh my gosh, those you got to take a step outside the comfort zone to do that. Meaning you've got to hire the coach. You've got to take the course. You've got to sign yourself up for whatever your heart is guiding you to. That without that step, you will stay within the same old parameters. And a great sort of rule of thumb is, can you see yourself having it? Like now? Can you imagine that you're living that life now? How does it feel when you think about it? Do you feel fear? Why aren't you there yet? Is another great question. If what you're wanting is to live your dream, whatever your dream is, and it could be a blissful, super magical connection with your partner. It could be feeling like you are just deeply proud of the mom you're being, just so overjoyed in your identity now as mom. It could be that, or it could be achieving a professional goal. It doesn't matter. It's all the same feeling. It's all the same feeling. Why do we think we want anything? Because we think it's going to make us feel amazing, right? So can you see yourself having it now? And then just ask, like, why am I not there yet? Why don't I have it? And when you do that, your mind will tell you all the ways. It will tell you all the reasons. Well, because there's this, and because that, and because of someone else, and because of that circumstance, and because of where I live, and because of no one taught me how, and because of all this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So just weed through all that BS, and then tune in and go like, okay, so is it possible that there's more for me to learn in moving the obstacles and saying yes to what I want? Is it time for me to prioritize me? Is it time for me to understand that yes, it's possible to love on kids, for them to feel deeply loved, appreciated, valued, respected, because I am deeply loving, valuing, and respecting myself. And that's the lesson kids get when we invest in ourselves, that they are worthy of prioritizing how they feel for themselves, because that's what we're doing for ourselves, right? So you guys chime in. If you have questions, chime in. Here we are, the end of 2020. And the biggest aha that my clients in the last, been doing this for many, many years, been in the last 3 years of doing deep dive coaching in Awakened Motherhood and creating transformation with so many mothers. It's amazing how many of them have come because of overwhelm, and they're ready to slay that. They're ready to eliminate that and to live in joy. And what opens up along the way is this kind of desire that has been on the back burner for so long, like a secret. Like, I want to achieve that, but I'm scared of that. I'm so overwhelmed with daily life. I can't imagine. That's way too much to imagine. And the 6 weeks into working together, 8 weeks into working together, everything's sort of falling into place. And there's this, oh my God, a realization, like, I have a choice. I could choose that. that. And I know now how to line up with that. So I can have that. And there is nothing in the way except for what we are allowing to be in the way. There's no partner that can actually be in the way. There's no child that can actually be in the way. There may be really tough relationships that we are deciding to prioritize. But that is the biggest shift from feeling like I'm on the back burner, my dream is, to I'm starting to see myself as that. I'm lining up with resources. I'm hiring the right people. So that shift is mental, you guys. It's nothing but mental. It's not circumstantial. It's not emotional. It's a mental shift from, and its energy is through your whole system, from something is holding me back to I haven't decided yet to move into this. That's it. It's so simple. It's not your kids. It's not your marriage. It's not your income level. It's not your fear of not having enough and scarcity and lack. And it's not the bank account. It's not the things that we think that it is. It's not that everyone is evil who goes after their dreams. It's not these facades that we buy into, these stories that were handed down to us. What does your heart say about that? You wouldn't have a dream on your heart if it wasn't achievable. I'm going to say that again. You would not have a dream on your heart if it wasn't achievable. But how willing you are to go for it, how willing you are to move what's in the way and find out how to do that is what's coming up for you. That's what's next for you. If this is resonating for you, let me know, you guys. I'm so curious to hear what you think and would love to support your dreams. So tell me what they are. I want to hear, say a little bit about a dream that you have for yourself, for your family, for 2021. We're at the end of the year here. It's been a wild ride and lots of change and lots of things rearranging and lots of mothers finally taking up the reins and saying, fine, like the way that I have been doing this is just simply not going to work. It's a choice, and the choice usually sounds like, I'm not bringing that with me. I'm just not bringing overwhelm with me into 2021. I'm not bringing anxiety and feeling out of control and screaming at my kids. I'm not bringing it with me. That's it. Lower your tolerance. Lower your tolerance and decide what you're bringing with you and what you're not bringing with you. So, are you going to bring a dream with you? Are you going to pull in the resources you need? Do you want some help in seeing what is possible for you? I can help you do that piece. Do you want some help in knowing if you are really ready for moving obstacles? And we can find out if you're a match for the way that I do it in Awaken Motherhood, and if not, then I can point you in another direction. But don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to do that work with you. I actually have maybe not that much longer, maybe a week more on my calendar open right now. So I encourage you to grab a spot. You guys get into your heart space and ask, what do I want for 2021? And is it real why I think I can't have it? Is it real? Or could it be a self-imposed limitation? Could it be a societal limitation that I believed that I might be able to move and shift for myself? And I can attest to, it's always a limitation, a creation, a co-creation we've bought into, because they can all move. They can all be shredded. They can all fall away. As we step more and more into our heart space, into love, into service, into power, into ownership of our gifts, then it gets easier. Gets easier. And if we had more time, which I need to wrap up, so actually doing some fun Christmas stuff with my family. I'm going to see some Christmas lights, but amazing awakenings that come when overwhelm is taken care of, when we shift from survival into thriving, and from thriving when these mamas who have spent several months working with me then fly into their dreams. It's beautiful to see what happens. people attracting clients in their areas of specialty that had no practice before, people manifesting promotions. This is really normal. People also manifest things like, dropping 30-40 pounds when they slay overwhelm, or manifesting a new dreamy relationship if they were single. There are beautiful extensions of our heart's desires that have room to bloom and grow when we move what's in the way. So if you want help, or you want to reach out and see if you're compatible for awakened motherhood, and I'll be very honest with you, if I'm not certain I can help you, I'll steer you in another direction. So don't worry about that piece. I'll love you either way, but don't hesitate to reach out. And don't forget, drop below what dream you are having on your heart for 2021 that you did not achieve in this year, or it's just coming up new for you, and share it here. And let's hold that for each other, and let's hold space for what is possible. And let's also hold each other's feet to the fire, that if you're not prioritizing you, if you're not investing in you, then we're not going to make any sort of ifs, ands, or buts about that. It is your choice. It's my choice to invest in me, and it's your choice to invest in you, in the dream, in the healing, in the expansion, right? These are all things that we have to take ownership of, rather than sort of just kicking back in resentment, or God, life is passing me by. We don't have to stay there. So if you feel that pull on your heart, and you do want to really step into that next level of you, then let's talk. I'll make space for you. I'll make time for you before this year is done, and you can start off 2021 on a totally different trajectory. Really have that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dream that you're wanting. All right. Mwah, mwah.